Al-Fatiha. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا ليتنا إن كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل للمؤمنات يغضضن من أبصارهن ويحفظن فروجهن ولا يبدين زينتهن إلا ما ظهر منها وليضربن بخمرهن على جيوبهن. To hasten the reappearance of our 12th and awaited Imam, recite with the loudest of your voices a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If I can kindly ask all of the brothers and sisters to come up to the podium so that once other people come they can find room clearly in front of them. رحم الله من ذكر القائم من آل محمد. Second salawat for the love of Fatimah to Zahra. Third salawat with the loudest of your voices for the love of Qamar Bani Hashim Abi Fadl al-Abbas. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The feminine element in Karbala played one of the most crucial factors in the preservation of the message of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Because as you know, when you examine the religion of Islam, you find that it was established by both genders, male and female. Because a religion that comes forward and claims to be a comprehensive religion that's applicable to all people, including all genders, all cultures, and all faiths and beliefs, has to be a religion which is established not only by the males, but a religion which is established by the females as well. That's why you find when Rasulullah first launched his mission towards establishing this religion of Islam, you found people with him such as the commander of the faithful, being a male. You found somebody like Ammar bin Yasir, being a male. You found somebody like Abi Dhar al-Ghafari, being a male. And you found somebody like Salman al-Farisi. You find that males were surrounding Rasulullah, yet you found females as well who established the religion of Islam. Because a religion that comes forward and says, we are a religion that's applicable to all people, has to provide an example for all genders and people of all faiths. That's why you find the Holy Prophet of Islam came forward and said, were it not for these two things, Islam would not have been established as a religion. Number one, the sword of Ali ibn Abi Talib and the financial support of Khadija bint Khuwaylid. Notice the emphasis of the Holy Prophet on establishing the fact that Islam was established as a religion not only by the males, but by the females as well. And that's why when you go to the Battle of Karbala, you find that you had not only males present, you had females as well. Females such as Kulthum, females such as Zainab alayhi salam, females such as Rabab, Farwa, Layla. You found ladies were very prevalent in Karbala. Yet you found three ladies who aren't usually mentioned, yet played a crucial role in the preservation of the message of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The first lady that played a crucial role in supporting the message of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, number one was who? Number one was the lady which was known as Lady Dulham. Dulham was the wife of Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. Because as you know, Zuhair ibn al-Qayn, when Imam al-Hussein first began his mission, Zuhair ibn al-Qayn was on the side of Yazid. Yet when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was going from one station to the other, from Mecca towards Karbala, he commanded one of his companions to go and speak to Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. He told him, go and speak to Zuhair ibn al-Qayn and ask him that we would like him to come to our side. They said that they sent a man to Zuhair ibn al-Qayn and they told him, Ya Zuhair, the grandson of Rasulullah would love that you come and join us in his army. Zuhair at first reacted in a way of hesitance. He said, I am on the side of Yazid. And if I go to the side of Hussein, then I'm going to be reprimanded, I'm going to be scolded, and I'm going to be punished by Umar ibn Sa'ad. Instantly, his wife Dulham interfered. She said, Zuhair, how could you have the audacity to be invited by the grandson of Rasulullah and reject his invitation? Instantly, Zuhair ibn al-Qayn went to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and he came back to Dulham and he told her, Ya Dulham, because of your motivation and support, I will be on the side of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam once we go to Karbala. Number one, you find somebody like Lady Dulham. Number two, you find somebody like Bahriya bint Mas'ud. Bahriya bint Mas'ud was who? Bahriya was the wife of Junada al-Ansari. This Junada, when he went to Karbala, he went with his wife Bahriya and he went with his son. Junada was killed, yet his wife was still alive. This lady has a daughter by the name of Amr ibn Junada. This Amr wanted to go and fight with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Amr went to the grandson of Rasulullah, Imam al-Hussein, and he told him, Ya Aba Abdullah, I want to fight for your sake and I want to become a shaheed. Now Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam told him, Ya Amr, your father just died, and the trial would be way too difficult for your mother if her son was to die as well. Amr tells her, Ya Aba Abdullah, Amr tells Imam al-Hussein, he tells him, Ya Hussein, it was my mother who sent me to the battlefield. I said, what do you mean I'm going to bring difficulties to the heart of my mother? It was my mother who sent me. Bahriya stood in the tent and watched her 14-year-old son Amr fight for Allah until he was martyred. Narrations say that Bahriya bint Mas'ud herself goes to the battlefield and she fights. Yet Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam tells her to come back lest you will get injured. Number two, Bahriya bint Mas'ud. The third female which played a crucial role in the battle of Karbala was who? Was Wahab al-Kalbi. This Wahab was a Christian female, and she was with her son and her daughter-in-law as they had their honeymoon and they were passing by Karbala. When they were in the battle of Karbala, they heard of a man by the name of Hussein fighting, and they said, let's go and see who this Hussein is and why he's fighting. So they go and they ask him, who are you? He says, I'm the grandson of Rasulullah. Wahab feels a sensation inside of his heart telling him that this man is on haqq and you should fight for his sake as well. This man goes and he speaks to his wife and he speaks to his mother. He tells them, I see that Hussein is a man of honor. I see that Hussein is a man of dignity. I see that Hussein is a man of truth. And I feel obliged to fight for his sake. Instantly his mother tells him, no, Wahab. You have just married a 9-year-old girl. You still have a life ahead of you. You have children to conceive. You have a life waiting to be unfolded in front of your eyes. He tells her, please mother, I want to go and fight for this Hussein. Number one. He insists. She says, no, please don't fight. Again, he asks, he insists, mother, please let me go and fight for Hussein. She says, no, you just got married. The third time, the mother goes and tells Hussein, go and fight. She goes and tells Wahab, go and fight for Hussein. Tells her mother, the first time you came to me, you told me don't go and fight. The second time you came to me, you told me don't go and fight. The third time, you are the one encouraging me to go and fight for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. She told him yes. Because when I heard Imam al-Hussein shouting, "Ala hal min nasirin yansuruna," my heart shattered into pieces, and I seen it obligatory upon me to allow my son go and fight. They say that Wahab went and fought for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam until Umar ibn Sa'ad commanded that his head was beheaded. Umar ibn Sa'ad, after they beheaded the head of Wahab, they took the head and they threw it at his mother. They told her, you have just given us your son, now take this head. Listen to the line of Wahab. She said, this head was sadaq for Allah. This head was sadaqah for Allah. And once sadaqah is given, it can never be taken back. She goes on and said, if I had more than one son, wallah, all of them would be given for the sake of Fatima al-Zahra. That you find somebody like Wahab ibn Abdullah al-Kalbi played a crucial role in the Battle of Karbala, even though she was a female. Number 3, Wahab. And then you find number 4, the lady which with all certainty played the most crucial role in the Battle of Karbala, was Zainab bint Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Zainab alayhi salam, as you know, were it not for her, the Battle of Karbala would not have been preserved for us until today. Because the Battle of Karbala was made of 2 elements. Number 1, the stand of Imam al-Hussein, and number 2, the stand of Zainab in the castle of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Zainab alayhi salam had one of the most powerful, if I can ask the women to please lower their voices, please, I beg you. Zainab alayhi salam played one of the most powerful stands when she stood in front of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Because Yazid has an interesting dialogue with Zainab alayhi salam. He tells her, Ya Zainab, are you happy with what Allah has done to your Hussein? Zainab seen Imam al-Hussein beheaded. Zainab seen the hands of Abu Fadl decapitated. Zainab gave her sons Awn and Muhammad. She says, Wallah ma ra'aytu minhu illa jamila. I see nothing but beauty from him, Ya Yazid ibn Muawiyah. She goes on and says, Ya Yazid, kid kaydak, was'a sa'yak, for Allah ma ayyamuka illa adad, wa ma shamluka illa badad, wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalabin yanqalibun. She says, Ya Yazid, kid kaydak, do what you want. وَاسْعَ سَعْيَكَ, and strive in your schemes, for wallah, through time you will see that the oppressors will be exposed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because this Zainab alayhi salam was brought up by who? Who was her brother? Who was her father? Who was her mother? She was able to take all of the qualities from her family members and manifest it in her character. Because Zainab had the patience and forbearance of Al-Hasan ibn Ali. Zainab had the courage of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. Zainab had the mercy of her grandfather Rasulullah. And Zainab had the strength of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. And Zainab had the eloquence of her father Ali ibn Abi Talib. Zainab alayhi salam was able to encapsulate all characteristics of her family members in her own character. Now the question arises, when you analyze the role of females within Karbala, you find despite the activity that they held, and despite all that they did, they still were able to maintain one quality, which was modesty. Today you find in our societies, one of the most lacking qualities when it comes to our females is the concept of modesty. Because our 6th Imam, Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad our 6th Imam comes forward and says, modesty is a part of faith. Listen to this hadith. He says, modesty is a part of faith. And he who has no modesty has no faith at all. Haya. Because when I have modesty, from it, patience stems out. When I have modesty from it, courage stems out. When I have modesty from it, knowledge stems out. That Imam al-Sadiq is saying, I see modesty as the foundation of a respectable Muslim. Once you have modesty, all qualities become incumbent for you to have. And that's why you find the quality of modesty is not only a quality which is stressed within the religion of Islam. Today you go to Christianity, for example, and you find they stress modesty. Today you go to Judaism, you find they stress modesty. Today you even go and speak to an atheist, and you find that he's stressing modesty. That modesty is seen as a universal quality, not only stressed by Islam, but stressed by people of all faiths and beliefs. And the pinnacle and climax of modesty is this veil that we see on the heads of our females, which is known as hijab. Hijab has been mentioned a couple of times within the Holy Quran. And it has also been mentioned within the Bible itself. Because some people come and say hijab is simply an Islamic belief. On the contrary, have you ever seen a portrait of Maryam without wearing the scarf on her head? Basically, Allah is telling us that, listen, this hijab is emphasized not only by Muslims, but by non-Muslims as well. That's why today if you go and study the Bible, and you come across the verse in the first book of Corinthians, chapter 11, verse number 6, you find that St. Paul makes it clear. He says a respectable female is one who puts a veil on her head. Not hadith, not ayah Qur'aniyah, St. Paul. And you know the history of St. Paul. St. Paul comes and says, a respectable female is one who places a scarf on her head. He furthermore goes and continues, and if she doesn't place this veil on her head, then her head should be shaved bald. St. Paul. That when you examine the hijab, it's not only a quality emphasized in Islam, but even in other religions such as Christianity. Because the principle and the foundation of a successful character is modesty. That's why you find Adam alayhi salam, when he first began his test, what's the first commandment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him to practice? Was it not to take the leaf and cover his private parts? What is Allah saying? Allah is saying is the first thing that you have to begin to practice once you become a Muslim is modesty. Because modesty is the foundation of all qualities. Now you find, unfortunately, in our communities, modesty has been pictured and depicted as if it's a feminine issue and not an issue for males. Because before I speak about the females, we have to do justice to our males. Because when you study the Holy Quran, the first verse that Allah came with regarding hijab and modesty was not for the females, but for you and I, the males. Allah says in Surah 24, ayah number 31, He says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ. Notice the verse. Allah says, tell the believing males to lower their gaze. Number one, Allah in this verse is doing what? He's giving us the elements of a modest male. What are the ingredients of modesty when it comes to the male? Allah gives it to us in Surah 24, ayah number 31. He says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze. وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ. And cover their private parts. Why? ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ. That is better for them. Allah in this verse is making a fundamental and very delicate statement. He says, when you, O male, lower your gaze and you cover your private parts, that is better for you. Meaning when you lower your gaze and you don't look at the female walking in front of you, you're not stripping her of her own humanity. You're stripping yourself of your own humanity. Allah is saying, when you walk around and you see a female walking by in front of you, a female with emotions, a female with feelings, a female with a history behind her, but you simply evaluate her by how she looks, by what she is, and not by how she acts as a human being, you have just objectified a human being. Criminal case number one when it comes to males, objectifying females. Many of us in our societies, specifically in media today, they have become experts at objectifying females. When they show you a commercial and they put a female standing next to the product, they're not telling you that we respect this female as a human with feelings. They're basically saying that, listen, we know that when you look at a female, feelings begin to arouse inside of you and you begin to get excited. And we're going to use this female as a channel to excite you even more so that you can buy our product. Give me one commercial today where a product is being sold if you don't find a half-naked lady sitting right next to it. Why? Give me one billboard today in our communities where you ride and you don't see a half-naked lady sitting on this billboard. As in, why don't you put a man? Put a man with, for example, nice pectorals, a man with nice abs, nice shoulders, deltoids, and let the people be intrigued by that picture. But no, a female is different. We know that desires begin to arouse inside of you when you see this female. And thus we're going to use this female as a channel to intrigue you and to begin to excite you and to objectify this female. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and says, I'm placing this hijab on the female. What is He saying? He's saying in Islam, we don't look at a human being for what she is, rather for who she is. Very crucial point. Allah, when He puts His hijab on the female, He's basically saying, it's not that I don't want you to be attracted to her, because let's be honest today, sometimes you find females with hijab who are 100 times more attractive than girls without hijab. Nowadays, you know, with the fashion and the makeup and the colors that they have, nowadays they're sometimes even more attractive. Yet when Allah puts His hijab on their female, He's basically saying, it's not that I don't want you to be attracted to her, I want you to be attracted to her for the right things. I want you to be attracted to her for her intelligence. I want you to be attracted to her for her wisdom. I want you to be attracted to her for her manners and morality, not simply by what she is, rather for who she is. That Allah makes it clear that the first verse, in 24:30, the first hijab, which is crucial, is for the males and not the females. Now hijab, when it comes to males, can be segregated into two types: the physical hijab and the social hijab. Because as you know, in the religion of Islam, the laws that our ulama have given to us and the laws that Allah has commanded us to follow are of two types: a physical law and a spiritual law. That everything that Allah has forbidden us to do has two reasons: a physical aspect and a spiritual aspect. You take, for example, eating pork. Today, eating pork has been forbidden by Allah, khanzir, within the Quran for two reasons. Number one, the physical reason. Considering the fact that this pig walks around eating its own feces, if I was to eat this pig, this is going to begin to innate and cause some physical diseases inside of me. Yet Allah forbids pork from us from being eaten for a spiritual reason as well. And this spiritual reason is crucial to understand, because today in society you find 50%, especially here in the US, 50% suffer from hypertension. When your arteries are clogged, blood pressure. Why? Because of this pork. A physical reason. Yet you find the spiritual reason is what? You find scientists and researchers come and tell you today that the pig is the only animal which enjoys watching its partner mate with other animals. Today, the pig is the only animal within the animal kingdom that enjoys watching its partner mate with other animals. Now when you begin to eat this animal, whether you like it or not, its characteristics are going to be transferred to you. You may say, give me proof. Today you go to bars and clubs, you find something which is known as wife swap. This wife swap is what? After I become drunk, after I'm intoxicated and I lose my mind, you take my wife for the night, and I take your wife for the night. People come and say, where did this disgusting custom habit, where did it stem out from? You go and study the pig. Allah says, subhanallah, what does Allah say? He says, فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانِ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِهِ. Let the human being pay attention to what he eats. Why? Is Allah worrying about the calories? Is Allah worrying about simply because it has too much oil, too much grease, too much cholesterol? No. Allah is saying, you are what you eat. When you eat something, you're going to begin to act like it. So here you find that when Allah forbids us from eating pork, He's making clear that there's a physical and a spiritual aspect to it. And that's why you find when you examine hijab, likewise, it has a physical aspect and a spiritual aspect as well. When it comes to male, ulama have told us that the physical hijab is this beard. Ulama come and say that this beard has been depicted to us by Islam as the physical hijab. Because a hijab is what? You find, for example, in the time of Christianity, when the scarf was prescribed to the people, it was prescribed to them. Why? So that it can differentiate the males from the females. This hijab, this beard differentiates the males from the females. And when I have this hijab, it's serving as the physical hijab of me as a male. And then you have the social hijab or the spiritual hijab of the males, which is of crucial importance. Because sometimes you find brothers with the most beautiful of beards. Sometimes you find brothers with the most beautiful of mustaches. Yet you find his character is the worst of characters. Why? Because he'll focus on the physical hijab, but the social hijab is put on the side. Luqman, when he was speaking to his son, Luqman was known for his wisdom. When Luqman was speaking to his son, he spoke to him and he gave him a number of advices. There were 4 crucial advices that Luqman gave to his son, which comprise the social and spiritual hijab of the male. He tells him, وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبْ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ وَاقْصِدْ فِي مَشِّكَ وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. Luqman tells his son what? He tells him, وَلَا تُصَعِّرْ خَدَّكَ لِلنَّاسِ. Do not turn your cheek away from the people in arrogance. وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. And do not walk on this globe exultingly. You see, sometimes today you find brothers who walk with their chest up to the sky. He walks with his cheek as if he's on cloud 9, as if his dad owns the universe. I don't know what it is. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib comes and says, you came from a drop of semen. You walk with feces in your stomach. You don't know when you came. You don't know when you're going to leave. Why do you walk around like you know everything? Sometimes a human being forgets the fact that he came from a drop of semen. Allahu Akbar. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمِ الْإِنسَانَ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. Allah says, does a human being not know that we created him from a drop of semen, and all of a sudden he begins to speak to us as if we're doing a favor for him? Is that Luqman tells his son what? He tells him, وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبْ كُلَّ مُخْتَالٍ فَخُورٍ. Allah does not like the arrogant, self-deluded ones. He carries on and describes to him, notice how this is all elements of the social hijab. He tells him, وَاقْصِدْ فِي مَشِّكَ وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ. And lower your voice. Sometimes we have people sitting right next to us. We speak to them as if we're speaking to somebody on the other side of the globe. Brother, what are you doing? How is everything? Calm down. Sometimes you see brothers in our communities, my God, he speaks as if he has a walkie-talkie in his hand. Calm down. He says, وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ. Why? إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. The worst of voices is the voice of the donkey. Allah is comparing those who are constantly screaming, constantly blurting. Don't speak with a medium-toned voice to a donkey. Allah says, إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. Indeed, the worst of voices are the voices of the donkey. I don't know if you've been to Iran, but I've heard in some places where you go and visit, you find donkeys constantly screaming. I remember one brother was telling me, it's the most heart-scratching noises you'll ever hear in your life. You can imagine, when Allah is comparing our voice to the donkey, He's telling us, don't be like the donkey. Because insan at times can be better than the angel, and insan at times can be worse than the animal. So you find here he speaks to him the social hijab. He tells him, lower your voice. Don't walk arrogantly. Walk with modesty. Don't walk with exultance. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after this verse, He goes on to explain to us the hijab of the females. Now many females come and ask, why is it that Allah emphasizes on the hijab of the females more than He emphasizes on the hijab of the males? Allah emphasizes on the hijab of the females for two reasons. The first reason, which is of utmost importance, is because the females are the child bearers of society. If it was us, the males, who were giving birth to children, then Allah would have commanded us to put this scarf on our head. You may say, brother, what's the difference? Whether you're male, whether you're female? No, it makes a crucial difference. Because Allah is making a powerful statement. He's saying the female has the most crucial role when it comes to the lives of the children. You may say, brother, no. If there is a good father and there's a bad mother, then the child is going to come out good. Because the father is the head of the household. I give you the example of Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh alayhi salam was one of the 5 prophets of Ulul Azm. One of the 5 greatest messengers that Allah sent to mankind. Yet because his wife was a wicked lady, the son came out wicked as well. Was that you find when the flood came about, Nuh alayhi salam tells him, Ya Allah, this is my son, how could you drown him? This is my son, Ya Allah. Allah comes and tells him, إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ مِنْ أَهْلِكَ. He's not of your children. Allah physically, biologically, he's your child. Allah comes and says, Subhanallah, look at this example. The father was the best of fathers. Yet because the mother was a wicked lady, the son came out wicked as well. Number 1, because they're the child bearers of society. Number 2, because it's the females who are the flag bearers of the religion of Islam. Allah is giving the females a responsibility that He didn't give the males. Why? Because He sees the females more qualified in this aspect. Because as you know, males have been exalted in some aspects and females have been exalted in some aspects. Yet the responsibilities that males have been given and the responsibilities that females have been given, at the end of the day, balance out. Because the relationship of the male and the female within the religion of Islam can be compared to a bird. You see a bird, sometimes his left wing is lower than his right wing. And sometimes his right wing is lower than his left wing. Yet nonetheless, when the left wing goes down, it's contributing efforts to allow the bird to fly freely. That sometimes the female may have to compromise. Sometimes the male may have to compromise. Yet at the end of the day, the goal is what? For us to produce successful children. For us to produce good children. That Allah says, yes, the female may be the flag bearer of Islam, yet it's the father who is the meat and the breadwinner. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض. Allah says men have the responsibility of fostering and taking care of the females. That the responsibility of the females, by them wearing hijab, Allah is telling them they are the flag bearers of the religion. That today if I was to be walking outside and somebody seen me, he wouldn't know whether I'm a Muslim or not. Yet when the female is walking with this hijab on her head, she's holding a big red flag telling the world, watch out, I'm a Muslim. Now the responsibility becomes even greater. Why? Because if I was to act indecent in public, screaming, yelling, cursing, this indecency is going to go back to me as an individual. But when the female acts indecent, this indecency goes back to the religion, not the individual. Because she has become a representative of Islam. She has become an ambassador of Fatimah al-Zahra, salawatullah wa salam. So you find when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the male hijab, He's emphasizing that you, O males, have a responsibility. Because the verse that I mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? He says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze. Now ulama of tafsir come and tell us that there are 3 stories which serve as the reason and purpose of why this verse came down for the males. The first story is related to a man by the name of Al-Fadl ibn Abbas. This Al-Fadl ibn Abbas was walking with Rasulullah one day, and an extremely beautiful lady walks by. Now this Ibn al-Fadl is walking with Rasulullah, and Rasulullah takes a peek at him. He wants to know, is he looking, is he staring, is he browsing, right? He looks at him and he sees that yes, he's looking. He has a stick and he softly hits the cheek of Al-Fadl, telling him, turn your face. Have you seen sometimes when we're watching a bad movie and a bad scene comes out, we turn our face, but our eyes are still watching at the screen. You know, like this, but your eyes are still at the screen. This Al-Fadl turns his face, but his eyes were still on the lady. The verse comes down and says what? قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. The second story comes in and says what? That a man by the name of Ibn Abbas was with the Holy Prophet, and he was answering a question for one of the sisters. So he finds that Al-Fadl or Ibn Abbas is looking at this lady. He tells him, oh Fadl, turn your face. He doesn't turn his face, the verse comes down. Yet the third story is my personal favorite, because this is really, it's reality, the story. It brings it back to our lives today. A man by the name of Sa'ad, he comes to Rasulullah with his forehead bleeding. He tells him, Ya Rasulullah, my forehead is bleeding. He tells him, what happened? He told him, I was walking in the street and I seen an unbelievable lady walk in front of me. He says, she turned left, I turned left. She turned right, I turned right. She went back, I went back. He tells him, yes. He says, and there was the pole. And his pole hit his forehead. So he came to Rasulullah bleeding, and he told him, Ya Rasulullah, I'm bleeding. He told him, you deserve it. The verse comes down, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Now when we come to the hijab of the females, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes it to another level for the two reasons that I mentioned. Flag bearers and child bearers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in surah number 24, ayah number 31, the verse that I began with, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ وَيَحْفَظُ فُرُوجَهُمْ وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جِيُوبِهِنَّ. You see, because many times sisters come and say, brother, I'm not ready. You know that classical argument, brother, I'm not ready. Brother, I'm still 19. If I don't put this hijab on my head, I'm not going to get business. I'm not going to get a job. People are going to begin to look down at me. That before you put this hijab on your head, you have to understand that there's a prerequisite. This prerequisite is known as taslim, submission. Submission to the will of Allah. I remember sitting with some sisters, they tell me, brother, I know hijab is correct, but I'm not ready. As in, do you think those soldiers in southern Lebanon were ready when they went and fought? Do you think that the young and fierce warriors such as Qasim ibn al-Hassan was ready when he was fighting with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam? That Imam comes and tells him, وَكَيْفَ تَرَى الْمَوْتِ? How do you see death? He tells him, for your sake, أَحْلَى مِنَ الْعَسَلِ. He tells him, for your sake, Ya Aba Abdullah, it is sweeter than honey. That I may not know why putting this hijab on my head is wise. I don't know why placing this piece of cloth on my head is going to make me a better person. But because the all-wise, the all-knowing has told me to do so, I respect his advice, his command, and I do it. That's why Ali ibn Abi Talib comes and says, Al-Islam huwa taslim. Wa-taslim huwa al-yaqeen. He says, Islam can be summarized in one word: submission. وَالتَّسْلِيمُ هُوَ الْيَقِينُ. And submission is true certainty. That I ask you the question, if you come and tell me, and you give me a slip that tells you you're going to die, for example, at this certain age. You're going to die at age 19. Maybe at age 18 and 5 months before you die, you can put this hijab on your head. But tell me, when did Allah give you a slip that tells you when you're going to leave this world? When did Allah guarantee that you're going to leave? I mean, we may be able to leave this center right now when Allah takes our soul. This day may be the last day of our existence. I'm speaking to you right now, I may leave and that's it, Allah takes my soul. As in, how do you know when Allah is going to come and send Jibreel or Israel to come and take your soul? وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ مَاذَا تَكْسِبُ غَدًا وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. Allah says no soul knows what it's going to do tomorrow, and no soul knows on which land it's going to die. That's why I remember coming across one of the most heart-wrenching ahadith that I ever came across. They say that when this world ends and everybody dies, and everybody's buried in this coffin of theirs, Jibreel is going to pass by those females who didn't place this hijab on their head. Yet you find when somebody dies, we cover them with a coffin, correct? We put a coffin on their body and we shroud them. The hadith comes in and says that Jibreel is going to pass by these bodies. And he's going to see the lady that didn't place this hijab on her head, but is still enshrouded with this coffin. He's going to pass by and he's going to smile. When asked, "Oh Jibreel, why do you smile?" He says, "I'm surprised at this female. She wasn't able to put a veil on her head on top of the earth. What difference does it make if she places a veil when she's under the earth?" As in, this is the opportunity, my sisters. This is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They would come to one of our ulama, they would tell him, "Ya Imam, by placing this hijab on the heads of the females, you're limiting them." He says, "Wayhak, correction, I'm protecting them." This hijab is not a limitation. This hijab is a protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah loves you so much. Allah sees you so valuable that He doesn't want any man passing by and laying his eyes on you. He wants you to be a lady of dignity. He wants you to hold on to the rope of Fatima to Zahra alayhi salam. He wants you to hold on to the rope of Zainab salawatullahi wa salamu alayha. He wants you to follow her footsteps not only with words but by action as well. That's why you find when you examine the verse of where Allah speaks to the females regarding hijab, He comes with this verse. He says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Listen to the verse carefully, my beloved sisters and my brothers, to understand what this hijab is, so that once I leave this masjid, I see it as a blessing and I put it on with bravery and with excitement and courage. He says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ. Tell the believing females to lower their gaze. وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنْ. And to cover their private parts. وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا ظَهَرَ مِنْهَا وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جِيُوبِهِنَّ. Allah within this verse gives 4 criterias which comprises and makes up the hijab of the females. Number 1, tell the believing women to lower their gaze. How many males have you seen? He takes the hadith which says you're only allowed one look, right? The first one is for you, the second one is against you. Sometimes our brothers walk around and they take this hadith literally. Their first look, mashallah, is half an hour. Sometimes you see brothers, wallah, they're like owls, browsing, gauging. The first look is for you. Yes, but that doesn't mean it's a look which takes 30 minutes. No. With that one look, he dissects everything. With that one look, he analyzes and examines and knows the insides and outsides of that person walking in front of him. As in, the first one is for you, but that first one should be accidental. Like quickly, and that's it, I'm gone. Some brothers say, no. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. The first one is for you, yes. Yet the second one is against you. That Allah comes and describes the hijab of the females. He says, number 1, tell the believing females to lower their gaze, to look down, to walk with modesty. وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنْ. And to cover their private parts. And to not show that of their beauty except what has been made apparent. Ulama of tafsir have come forward. And they say that to understand what Allah is referring to, when He says that which has been made apparent, we take 2 ahadith into consideration. The first hadith is the hadith of Salman al-Muhammadi. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. The first hadith of Salman al-Muhammadi, that one day Salman was walking into the house of the Lady of Light, Fatima alayhi salam. He walks into his house and he sees that the hands of Fatima were bleeding. He tells her, Ya Fatima, why are your hands bleeding? She says, because of the constant grinding that I have been doing in the garden. Ulama come and say what? Because Salman was able to see the hands of Fatima, Allah is referring to the hands when He says that which has been made apparent. Because many sisters come and ask, brother, what could show and what can't show? Allah come and say, your face could show, your hands could show, your feet should show, but everything else should be protected. He says, number one, the hands of Fatima were able to be seen, thus the hands of the females is able to be shown. Number two, they come and take the second hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah. Jabir walks into the house of Fatima and he sees that the face of Fatima was pale. He tells her, Ya bint Rasulillah, why is your face pale? She says, because the last night I gave all of my food for the sick, the needy, and the captives. Ulama come and say, listen, Jabir was able to see the face of Fatima. Thus the face and the hands of the females could be shown. Now Allah goes on this verse, and what does He say? He says, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. What's one of the main arguments you hear? Brother, it's not mentioned in the Quran that we have to wear hijab. Allah didn't say it. Allah clearly says it in 24:31. He says what? وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. And let them take the garments that are covering their head and cover their lower bodies. Because Allah uses the word what? Khumur. Khumur today, you go and study it in Arabic dictionary and you find a khimar is something that was covering your head. Because when you want to come and do tafsir on the Quran, you have to have 5 areas which you have become an expertise at. Number 1, the Arabic language. Number 2, Arabic literature. Number 3, pre-Arabian culture. And number 4, pre-Arabian Islamic etiquettes. And number 5, jurisprudence. The third criteria is crucial to understand. Where does Allah say that the female must wear hijab? Allah says, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ. When you study pre-Arabian culture, you find that the ladies in the time of Rasulullah already had this hijab on their head. But they had it in a way where this hijab was going behind their ears and they would have their hair covered, yet everything else was exposed. Allah came and told them to take this garment and cover their lower body. Why? Because their head was already covered. It would make sense for Allah to come and say, listen, come and cover your head. You say, Ya Allah, our head is already covered. It's our lower body which is exposed. Allah came and said, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ. Let them take that piece of clothing that's covering their head and cover their lower body. And this is what is known as the physical hijab. But then you have the social hijab. Now when somebody comes and says, brother, it's not mentioned in the Quran that we have to wear hijab. No, it clearly is. The social hijab is of utmost importance. Why? Because sometimes you find sisters who have this hijab on their head and they're covered from head to toe, yet their social hijab is worse than the female who doesn't wear hijab. Sometimes you find females who have this hijab. Yes, they're covered. And the hijab is excellent. No hair is showing. Yet, through their demeanor, they're saying something else. By the way they walk, they're sending a whole different message. By the way they lay your eyes at you, they're sending a whole different message. They're saying, yes, I have this hijab on my head. Physically, I'm covered. Yet socially, as in I ask you a question, what's the point of this hijab on your head if you're talking with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that passes by? Allah comes and says, when you put this physical hijab, you have to have the social hijab as well. Socially, you have to be active. Meaning you have to be covering yourself. You have to walk with modesty. I tell you, Allah, if there is one thing that comes to my mind when I think about the daughter of Rasulullah, it's no other than dignity. Dignity. She would walk, not allowing those around her to even look at her shadow. Dignity. That you find, if you want to understand the dignity of Fatima, analyze this story. You find one day Fatima Zahra is in her house, and the man by the name of Abdullah ibn Maktoum walks into the house. Now, Abdullah ibn Maktoum was a blind man. When Abdullah walked into the house of Fatima, Rasulullah noticed that instantly Fatima went and placed his hijab on her head. Once Abdullah ibn Maktoum left the house, he came to her, he told her, Ya Fatima, you know for a fact that Abdullah is blind. Why did you run and instantly put this hijab on your head? Listen what the social hijab is. That I don't fear what the people around me are looking at. I fear what the creator of those people is looking at. I fear what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at. She tells him, Ya Rasulullah, if Abdullah doesn't see me, then the creator of Abdullah is looking clearly at me. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَرَى. Does he not know that Allah is watching him? That taqwa is what? What is the root meaning of taqwa? I'm cautious. Cautious of what? Cautious of Allah's eyes watching me. You find Fatima alayha salam, whenever she would walk with dignity, modesty and chastity. This is what Fatima was. Now when I come and I cry for Zainab, and I shed these tears falling from my eyes for Zainab, yet I don't wear the hijab of Zainab. What's the point? I come and I hit my chest, Labbayka ya Hussein, I love you ya Hussein. Then I leave the masjid and I do the exact opposite of what Hussein wanted me to do. What's the point of these words? Hot air. That you find when Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam heard that the tents are being burnt in Karbala, he tried to stand up, he wasn't able to. He tried to get up so strongly and so much that they say that body of his Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam was covered with wounds from head to toe. They say he had arrows drenching his body from head to toe. They say blood was covering him from head to toe. Yet he was only able to stand up in that situation only in one circumstance. When he heard Umar ibn Sa'ad shouting, "Rip the hijab off Zainab." He stood up instantly and he said, "Oh Umar ibn Sa'ad, if you do not follow the teachings of Islam, then follow the teachings of the Arabs." They say that Sukaina alayhi salam, she comes to Imam al-Hussein once he leaves this world. Notice how Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam emphasized on nothing in his life to his daughters as much as he emphasized on hijab. Sukaina comes to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Sukaina tells him what? She tells him, "Father, that hijab that you placed on our head was ripped off our hair." Sukaina tell him that they burnt your tents. Sukaina tell him that they ripped the earrings off your ears. Sukaina tell them that they attacked you. Sukaina tell them this, tell them that. No, I don't need to. You, Ya Aba Abdullah, emphasized on one thing in our life, and that was to place this hijab on our head. And until the last breath of our life, we will emphasize on this hijab. That on a day like this, if I could please ask that baby to be quiet, may Allah bless you. That you find Abu Fadl al-Abbas on this day had only one thing in his mind, and that was to protect Zainab alayhi salam. Because this Zainab was what? Through the hand of Abu Fadl al-Abbas, he was able to bring her to Medina. You can imagine what a relationship Imam al-Abbas had with Zainab alayhi salam. That this Abu Fadl al-Abbas's heart didn't break into pieces as much as it did when he heard Zainab shouting, "Al-Atash, Al-Atash." This heart of Abu Fadl al-Abbas did not break into pieces as much as it did when he heard Zainab saying, "Oh Abbas, my heart needs water, could you go and bring it for me?" They say that Abu Fadl al-Abbas stood up and gone to Imam al-Hussein, telling him, Ya Hussein, could you give me the permission to go and bring water for the thirsty children? They say that Imam al-Hussein instantly broke into tears. He told him, oh my brother Abbas, Anta sahibu liwa'i. He told him, oh my brother Abbas, you are the flag bearer of my army. And if you were to leave, then tell me who will protect the children of Hussein or Abbas. Abu Fadl al-Abbas told him, oh my brother Hussein, I can't handle Zainab saying, oh my brother Abbas, I am thirsty. Abu Fadl al-Abbas insists. Imam al-Hussein tells him, fine, then take this skin container and bring some water for the thirsty children, under one condition, that you come back and quench their thirst. Abu Fadl al-Abbas mounts his horse. He goes on to the battlefield shouting, in tankiruni fa'ana Abu Fadl al-Abbas. He says, if you do not know me, then I am Abbas, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He goes and he fights bravely until he reaches the river. He kneels down and he takes out a skin container and he puts water in this container. Listen, look at the moment. I believe that this one instance manifests and summarizes who Abu Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam was. He goes down, he wants to drink water. While this water is going to his mouth, the image of the thirst of the children, Abu Abdullah, comes into his mind. He says, Wallah, I won't drink this water, and my brother Hussein is thirsty. He says, يا نفس من بعد الحسين هوني وبعده لا كنت أو تكوني. هذا حسين والد المنون وتشربين بارد المعين. تالله ما هذا فعال ديني. Abu Fadl al-Abbas takes the container and he puts it back on his shoulder. He mounts his horse once again and he goes on like the lion that he is fighting for the sake of Allah, until an enemy of Allah comes from behind a palm tree and strikes the right arm of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. Yet does he stop there? No. He doesn't stop, brothers and sisters. Why? Because he's seen the message of Imam al-Hussein more important than his arm. He says, Wallah in qata'tumu yamini inni uhami abadan an dini. He says, Wallah, if you cut my right arm, I will still defend the message of my brother Hussein. Imam al-Abbas keeps on fighting until an enemy of Allah comes and strikes our Abbas on his left arm. At this point, has nothing to do. Yet they say one of our ulama seen Abu Fadl al-Abbas in his dream. Abu Fadl al-Abbas came to him and he told him, oh scholar, I want you to go to your people and tell them, when a knight falls off his horse, usually he has hands to stop his chest from hitting the sands. Usually he has arms to stop the arrows from crushing onto his chest. Yet go and tell your people, what did I do as I had no hands on my left or right? I fell onto the sands and the arrows crushed into my chest. Abu Fadl al-Abbas falls onto the ground. At this moment he had nothing to do except ask for forgiveness from Imam al-Hussein for not bringing water to Sakina. They say when Abu Fadl al-Abbas was laying on the sands, he heard footsteps coming towards him. He told him, Wallah, oh whoever you are, do not behead me until my brother Hussein comes back. He tells him, do not kill me until I farewell my brother Hussein goodbye. He tells him, oh my brother Hussein. He tells him, oh my brother Abbas, no one is going to kill you. I am your brother Hussein. Allahu Akbar. Al-Abbas is laying there. Imam al-Hussein goes down to him. He takes his hand. He wipes the blood from his eye. He removes the arrow from his right eye. They noticed that Al-Abbas removed his head and he put it back on the sands. He told him, brother Hussein, brother Abbas, why are you removing your head from my lap? I am taking care of you. He puts it back once again on his lap. Al-Abbas removes it. He tells him, oh my brother Abbas, why don't you allow me to take care of you? Listen, where the mind of Abu Fadl al-Abbas was, he is being killed. He is losing his life, yet his mind was still somewhere else. He tells him, oh my brother Hussein, you are taking care of me right now, yet who is going to be there to take care of you after I die? He tells him, okay, oh my brother Abbas, let me take you back to the camps. Let me take you back to Zainab, to Sukaina. Farewell them goodbye once you leave. He tells him, no, oh brother Hussein, I can't handle seeing Sukaina empty-handed. He tells him, ya خليني بمجاني يقيل لي أشياء زهر الزمان قل له عديد سكنة تروني. Al-Hussein alayhi salam is speaking to Abbas as Abbas closes his eyes and leaves this world. Imam al-Hussein now has to face an even larger tragedy. He has to go and tell Zainab alayhi salam that Al-Abbas has died. He goes back walking to the tents. Picture this, brothers and sisters. Imagine Al-Hussein is walking back to Zainab. Zainab is expecting news of water coming back to the tents, yet she hears news of her brother Abbas leaving this world. Zainab alayhi salam tells him, oh Hussein, أراك رجعت وحيدا. I see that you came back alone. Tell me, where is my brother Abbas? He tells you, عظم الله لك الأجر بمصاب أخيك أبي الفضل العباس. يا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم نسألك وندعوك بجاه الحسين الشهيد. اللهم نسألك بأحب الخلق إليك محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين والتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين إلا قضيت لنا حوائجنا جميعا يا الله. Oh Allah, you know that we all have many mu'mineen and mu'minat in this majlis who are sick. Many mu'mineen and mu'minat who have hajat, and they have loved ones who have hajat to be answered. Let us ask Allah with the holy verse 5 times to answer our prayers with the loudest of voices. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amma yujibun المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف. One more time with the loudest of voices. أما يجيب يا كاشف السوء اكشف السوء عنا يا الله. اللهم شافي كل مريض بحق مريض كربلاء زين العابدين. اللهم اقض حوائج المحتاجين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين واخذل الكفر والمنافقين. Oh Allah, we ask you by the two decapitated hands of Abu Fadl al-Abbas to answer our prayers and to hasten the appearance of our Imam صاحب الزمان برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. And to answer our prayers, we recite Surah Al-Mubarakah Al-Fatiha. But before the loudest salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.